on the far side of town, sharing a dream with anyone. She's made it through heaven, she's made it through hell. It's just another story to tell. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen, filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights? Making up a bar queen on the phone in the great big boulevard, the place she belongs. It's just another story she tells. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen, filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights, through Hollywood nights. You always looked after me, brother, when we were children. You always had my back. You took all the blame when our father caught us doing things that drove him mad. Through the years I could lean on you when I messed up. I'd call you in the night, but I broke too many promises and we split up. Though I still need ya, you gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I got into this awful spot. I don't know where it ends, so I could use your helping hand tonight. I wanna say that I'm sorry, I got sidetracked and I left you in the cold. I've seen your side of the story, I felt the drawback. My mistake took its toll. Finally, I have realized I was dead wrong. I wasn't thinking straight. No more lies, and from here on out I'll be better, 'cause I still need ya. You gotta save me now. I'm slipping so far down, it's only you I trust to set me free from this. I don't know how I got into this awful spot. I don't know where it ends, so I could use your helping hand tonight.
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro, lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here. It is episode 104. You are here with the Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over the world. Tonight, guys, we are back after a week off that I really didn't intend on having. My hat's doing something kind of wonky here. But I didn't really intend on doing a week off, but it just so happened that we kind of hit this little period where we had a week where BV was kind of not doing anything. And I was doing a lot of stuff, trying to manage myself and family and chapter and different things going 10 different directions. So I just said, let's just relax. We've done this for over 2 years with the very, very once or twice exception of missing a week due to weather or due to internet or other reasons. It was just time for me to give a day, give a week. I know that people missed it. I missed it as much as you guys did, but it was a good little week off for decompression and to focus on a few other things that I needed to focus on so that we are rolling into this home stretch. Now, if you've been paying attention at all, you'll notice that there are a bunch of BV events coming up here this fall, and we've already started getting some things rolling in for the spring and even into the late spring on the calendars. So I believe in Ohio with Beardo de Mayo in May is the one that's furthest out right now that we have on the schedule, but they're filling up, guys. They're filling up. So we're doing our thing and we're pushing forward, and here we are at episode 104. And this is another one of those weekends where we're going to have multiple things going. And it's always a shame where we have a situation like this when multiple chapters are doing things at the same time. Obviously, we would love to be able to space things out in just such a way that there's no weekend where different chapters are doubling up. But we know that that's just absolutely impossible to do. With schedules, with planning, and how far out you have to plan some of these different events, it just happens. And this is one of those weekends, inevitably. But the nice thing about it is they're spaced out. They're spaced out a bit. So quite a bit, really, of the things that are happening over here on this part of the world, here in North America. I say North America because the double up this weekend is in Montreal and down in Florida in the U.S. The Florida Summit and Poutinefest in Montreal, the fest that they had to put aside for a year last year because of COVID. And so they've been specifically planning for this event for 2 years. Florida Summit, a little bit different because it's a different thing each year, obviously, but they were planning for it last year. They went ahead and did a little bit of a Florida Summit, if you recall, last year in Pensacola Beach, but they did it kind of under the radar, and they called it the unofficial. Everything was unofficial. And it was fairly well attended given the circumstances, really. But this year they're going to blow it out and have some more fun with it. So this week, episode 104, we actually have two people that we're bringing on the program. First person we're going to be bringing on in just a few minutes is Paul, the captain from Emerald Coast, giving us a little bit of a lowdown on the pushback from last year. Or not pushback wouldn't probably be the right word, but the way that they had to formulate things for last year and how it's driven things home for this year and really made a big push to knock it out of the park for this year for the Florida Summit. I also gave him a little bit of ribbing for the fact that it took a little while to get some of the details out about the Florida Summit because if you recall, every single week during my calendar of events, I would mention that the Florida Summit's coming up and that I had zero details. And that was pretty much the case up until last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago, when I finally started seeing details trickle in about what the Florida Summit was going to have. And so I apologize in advance. I like I said, I still think there's a little bit, and you kind of get the sense in listening to Paul that this is for the Florida guys. And anybody else that wants to come, but this is for the Florida guys. And it just the way he says it, it's pretty funny. And it's kind of like there's some, I don't know, maybe a secret handshake, secret passphrase or something that you need to know in order to attend the Florida Summit in the capacity that we would normally, I don't know. But I joke around with him about that. And then our second interview, I get a nice long interview, first time out. Those of you that are longtime listeners of the show know that I have spoken with Paul about different things down in Florida and the East Coast before. But my second interview guest, the first time I've ever spoken with Captain Ron. I like to call him Captain Ron. Captain Ron in Montreal. As you know, if you know Captain Ron, the captain of Montreal, he has a very long, wizard-like, flowing beard. Very white, very, very lustrous. And that might be in jeopardy this weekend. We'll get into that a little bit during his interview about the possibilities, what that could be. But he's going to be talking to us about Poutinefest. And I got my little lowdown in education on what poutine was. I'd heard about it before from a few other people, but generally speaking, that's not something that a non-world traveler as myself, living in northern Indiana, knows about. And so it was good to get a little education on some food and recipes from around the world and what they go through up there. And it's just cool. It sounds delicious, really. It sounds delicious. It reminds me of the episode of Friends when Joey's talking about all the different things in the dessert that Rachel made that was wrong. So, yeah, good. Yeah, all this stuff, not healthy, but very good, very good. So I want to take a second out, as I always do every night, to welcome in the people that are here live that I can see. Now, I know there's people watching live that are here with us tonight that I cannot see because you're not commenting in the comment section, and I appreciate that. I understand that. But for everybody that is, taking some time out to welcome us, I have to acknowledge everybody and say hi. Nick is in the house. Rev Nick, how you doing? So did George. I feel like I need to, when I see it written like that, I feel like I need to say it like in a childlike voice. I don't know why. So George is in the house. Mr. Joker's back with us. How you doing? Good to see you here. K-Mac, B-V-E-N-C. I feel like I'm supposed to be able to, that's supposed to roll off my tongue, and all I ever say, and I say it every week, is just E-N-C. But yes, sir, good to see you in the house here. Wayne, Mr. One Feather is here as well, hanging out with us. Radar came in and immediately wanted us to get going. So I said, well, let's start the program then, since Radar's here now. Of course, we have to abide by his wishes, right? Good to see you here, Radar. And I know we had some others. Rob is in the house joining us also. And I saw some others. Blue, how you doing? Huge fan of y'all. Now, come on. Don't be like that. We're a huge fan of everybody. Everybody that has a beard, everybody that's out there doing good, everybody that wants to make the world a better place, change the world, change lives. I am a fan of that. I'm a fan of all of you. And that's what we like to talk about here. So, and that's what we're going to get into in a few minutes. So, I'm going to take just a second. Now, I will preface this with an apology because I do know that in the last few weeks, a few chapters have dropped some merch for charity purposes, and I spent the afternoon trying to scroll through and figure out where, which different chapters I've been missing, and I apologize because I know there's some out there that I'm missing and I don't have them. So I will ask you, if you're listening to this episode now, and this is the 14th of October, if you're listening to this episode now and you still have some merch out there that you're raising some money for a specific reason, charity purposes or anything like that, and I'm not going to mention it here, please reach out to me. Let me know. I would love to share it. That's what we do here. So that's definitely a big thing for me. So I only really have 3 things right now. And the first is our once a month, as you know, we change the autism puzzle patch pieces. Now, for those who are not aware, there is a collaboration between over 30 chapters where each chapter has a puzzle piece represented, and it's going to create this huge puzzle. They all do fit together. Each chapter is represented by one puzzle piece. Every month, 2 puzzle pieces get released for sale. Each one of the patches is the same price, same shipping, so everything across the board is the same. Collect them all, collect one, collect whatever you want. But if you collect them all, you'll be able to fit it together in this huge puzzle that all fits together. Really, really cool stuff. And the best part about it is it's an autism patch sale. Each one of these chapters that does a patch, the money that they raise from their patch goes to something local autism related in their area. So think about that for a second and how awesome that's going to be for over 30 chapters from the U.S. right now. And I think the plan's in the works maybe to do something different down the road, including international chapters. But right now it's 30 chapters from the United States or over 30 chapters from the United States. And just think of all these organizations that are going to receive some funds from this. It's such a cool thing. So this month, this is the 4th month release. So this will be patches numbers 7 and 8, if I'm not mistaken, I think. Maybe it's 9 and 10. But anyway, this month, Bearded Villains Toronto, bright yellow patch with their awesome Hogtown Bearded Villains emblem on there, emblazoned on there in a yellow patch or yellow puzzle piece. Bearded Villains Toronto. You can get this at beardedvillainstoronto.com is their store. Now, do not be thrown off because I checked into this. Just a warning, and I said I would mention this. When you go to their site, it is $9, but their site seems to list it as like $11.50, and that's because of the transfer because of Canadian dollar versus US dollar. And the only way that they could list it was using Canadian currency, I guess. So it translates to the same amount. So you're still paying the same amount as all the other puzzle pieces, but it just looks like it's more, but it's not. So Bearded Villains Toronto, beardedvillainstoronto.com is where you can get it. $9 plus shipping is one of them. And the other one released this month, check this one out, from Eastern Washington, Beastside Villains. Very cool logo with their saw blade on it. I can't remember what the name of that, what that beast is. But very, very cool. $9 plus shipping. The Eastern Washington, the Beastside Villains, is available at ewbv.bigcartel.com. ewbv.bigcartel.com. So, as I've said before, these are once they're gone, they're gone. They're not reprinting these. There are a bunch out there available, so you have your chance. However, don't miss out. Don't just wait around and expect that, at the end of the month or even next month. They don't stop selling them until they're out. So they will continue, each chapter will continue to sell them beyond their month. But you don't want to be that guy that's trying to collect the entire puzzle and you're missing 3 or 4 pieces because you didn't jump on the ball when you had the time. So get on it when you can. $9 each plus shipping. So it's such a cool thing. And it spaces it out so it really doesn't hurt the pocketbook. Don't look at it as a huge purchase because then you kind of get scared. Look at it as a monthly thing, and it's not so much a big deal. And then this last thing here is that I have is a T-shirt from from the Pennsylvania East. This actually will stop going on sale this weekend, but I wanted to make sure I get it out here one last time. Making Strides, a Lehigh Valley breast cancer shirt. It's a pre-sale till October 16th. You can get this at pennsylvaniaeast.bigcartel.com. They're $25. Super, super cool. Very bold pink breast cancer shirt. They're awesome. These things are awesome. Again, Pennsylvania Villains East.bigcartel.com. Pennsylvania Villains East.bigcartel.com. Only through this weekend, so the 16th. So, Making Strides breast cancer shirts, $25. So grab one of those while you can. And like I said, guys, I know there's other things out there that I did not mention, so I do apologize for that. Again, if you are new to the show, this is Heart of a Villain. I am BP, your host, and I am also the captain of the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains. Been doing this for just over 2 years. Loving life. It's super duper awesome. If for some reason this is your first time here, click that like and subscribe. I know that somebody in here said it was their first time. Click that subscribe thing. You're going to get notified every time we do a video on here. Right now, the live streams for the podcast will launch every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central. 8 p.m. Central. That's a change from times past. We're no longer on Fridays. We're on Thursdays. So, all right, let's get into it now. Let's get into it. Real quick, I've got 2 interviews for you guys tonight. One is longer than the first. The second one with Captain Ron is longer than the first, only because there's a little bit of let's get to know Captain Ron in this interview, in the interview with Captain Ron. We have spoken with Paul before, and we know his story, and we know he represents. We know what a cool dude he is, and he's going to tell us a little bit in this interview about last year's attempt at the Florida Summit, but also this year. Kind of cool stuff. They've got some really neat stuff planned for everybody that is going to be in attendance. I do apologize. Well, nobody cares about that apology, but I'm sad that I can't be down there. This is the first weekend where there is a major BV event this year that I'm not able to go to. So it feels weird. It feels weird that there's a gathering of BV out there, 2 actually this week, and I'm not able to go to either one of them. And that's driving me a little bit crazy. Sorry. But I got to be here with family. I got birthdays for the boys. We're sandwiched right in between a week and a half of 2 different birthdays here at the house. So got to do the family thing, and I understand that. But, yeah. But I digress. I still miss the BV time, even though I've had so much of it this year, and I've been so lucky to do that. All right, guys, let's slide in. This is my interview with Paul talking about the Florida Summit upcoming this weekend down in Florida. This week is the return of the Florida Summit, and today I'm speaking with Paul, the Emerald Coast captain, giving us the lowdown on some of the details for those of you who are going to be able to be lucky enough to be in attendance at the Florida Summit, and just to kind of rub it in the faces of all of us that cannot make it. Help me welcome Paul. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing?
Man, I am excited. We got so much stuff going on in the land of BV right now, all over the country, all over the world, really. And it's a really kind of hectic time right now. You got the Florida Summit, and we've got other stuff coming up almost every week. You almost don't have an excuse, no matter where you are in the U.S. anyway, for sure. We got stuff going on up in Canada. We've got stuff going on over in the UK. So it's a crazy time. It's fun.
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome to see us coming back with like a vengeance after last year. You know, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Now, just to remind everybody, did you guys? What was the status of the Florida Summit last year for you guys?
So last year was we were supposed to have the official summit, and then COVID happened. So we kind of did like an unofficial thing. People that still wanted to come, we welcomed them with open arms. We went out and hung out with them on the beach. We actually went to the spot where we're actually having the main event on Saturday. We went there and drank them out of Busch Light. the first night, and then we went back another night, and they loved us. So that was our in there. And last year was just a blast. It's like a beach party. So this year, hopefully, it's a little bit bigger, and we do kind of the same thing. We just have it a little bit more laid out and set in stone.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember because I remember the chat room was everything was unofficial, the unofficial labeling of it. But now back better than ever. The Florida Summit is back full force, and it's going to be a weekend of just pure awesomeness down where the weather is nice. Have you checked the weather? Is it supposed to be really cool, or is it supposed to be good? What's the deal with that?
It's going to be beautiful outside. So 60s at night, 80s in the day. And it's supposed to cool off Saturday night, get a little chilly for Florida weather, at least.
I was going to say, yeah, chilly. Yeah, that's shorts and T-shirt weather up here.
Yeah.
But awesome. Okay, so run us down, if you can, what to expect. Anybody that's still, because I'm sure there's somebody out there, and I don't know why, but if you have the wherewithal to possibly make the Florida Summit, if you live within a half a day's drive and you're still kind of thinking, should I go? Wet the whistle of everybody else that's curious right now if they can possibly think about why they should go. What's the plan for the weekend?
So it's in Pensacola, Florida, if anybody wants to make the trip down. Friday night, we have a bar in town that's let us rent their outside space, and we'll have free food that's open to donations. Guys coming out cooking us food out of the kindness of his heart. And anything that gets past the what he has spent in food costs goes to the charity of the weekend, which is Gulf Coast Kids House. So Friday night we have the bar as a meet and greet, and we'll have a good time there. We have a free shuttle service for anybody that stays on the beach, from the beach to the venue, and then from the venue back to the beach at night. If you miss that shuttle, you have to find a way home yourself. So make sure you make the shuttle if you get too drunk and don't feel like sleeping in the street. So Saturday morning, we have a beach cleanup at 9:30. We're going to meet up at the main beach and walk up and down and pick up trash and just clean up our community. Just get our face out there and have a good time. It's on the beach, so you can't have a bad time. Then we have a little break, and then we'll have a big flag shoot by the pier. And then we have another break so we can all hang out on the beach and get ready for the main event that night. And then I think the registration starts at 4:30. And then the meet starts at 6 at the Sand Shaker on the beach. And it's going to be a good time. We have a live band coming on after the beard comp. And it's going to be a great time. And I wish everybody that wants to come is able to come. And I can't wait to see everybody. And it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, well, everybody that wants to come is not going to be able to come because I want to come.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and what's killing me is that this is actually going to be the first of the sizable events of the year that are here in the United States that I'm not able to make. Other than the West Coast meet that it was in Denver that I couldn't make because I happened to be at Knox Villains the same weekend. But it's killing me. It's killing me. I hate the fact that there's going to be an event going on and I'm not at it. So how dare you guys have an event without me?
I know, but to be fair to you, we didn't really promote as much as we should. But it's more for the Florida guys. Everybody's known about it since 2 years ago that we were going to put it on, and then last year was what it was, and we kept on to it and stuck to our plans, and we're going to do it this year, and we're going to do it as best as we can. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. I like the fact that it's for the Florida guys, but I kind of laugh a little bit because as you know, one of the things I like to do here is promote all the different events that are going on, so that during my little calendar of events phase. But it took me up until about a week and a half ago to actually find the details other than the dates.
Yeah.
And I just used to laugh because I was like, they're not letting anybody outside of Florida know what the details of this thing are, because I don't think they want anybody outside of Florida. They're making their own little thing there. So
well, the state of events the way they are, plans kind of didn't fall into place until later. So the planning wasn't really set. So I didn't want to push out bad information and have people get their hopes up or something happen on our end where we couldn't do it. So I waited till we had everything really set in stone and everything in writing to where it was going to happen before I put out the itinerary and made the flyers and committed.
Yeah.
So
I totally
I
get
apologize.
it. No, I totally get it. I mean, especially after last year, because you had the
Yeah.
plan in place, and then you had to pivot and call it the unofficial and everything else. But I just
Exactly.
kind of laughed about it because every week I'd get to that point in the show and the podcast. I'd be like, "Hey, NK, and the weekend is the Florida Summit." I got nothing for you, folks. I just know that I think that that's the date, and it wasn't until last week that I said, "Well, I think I might have a little bit of details finally." But anyway, at least everybody, we can point them in the direction and know that
Yes.
it's this upcoming weekend, and it's in Pensacola.
If you make it to Pensacola and get in touch with me, we'll get you taken care of.
They will give you the secret handshake and give you the red door access key code, and you can find your way there.
Yeah.
One of the
Come on
things-
down to the Jewel of Lower Alabama.
There it is. Is that the passphrase?
Yeah.
Tell me, I think one of the cool things that you guys do with the Florida Summit, and I remember last year when there was preparations for it before it was unofficially canceled, officially, it was still going to go on though, was the idea that you wanted to give back to the community directly and do actually a beach cleanup. And I thought that was such a cool thing because I love it when you bring people into town for an event and you're still able to find a way to tangibly, not just give back financially or monetarily in some way to an organization, obviously for the events that's for the weekend, but to find a way to do something locally. I think that's a really, really cool idea that you're going to do that. And it's just a really cool way to give back.
Yeah, in the city I live in, Pensacola, it's a military town and it's a beach town. So beautifying the beach is rejuvenating a community, and even like small tasks in a small little area, cleaning up and helping out the people that actually work out there, and just doing your part as a citizen to clean up and make sure your area is nice. And you want people to come there and spend their money and enjoy it, and then maybe move down here eventually and add to the economy and grow the city. That's really the goal, I think, of any of the chapters. They want to give back to the place where they live, because they enjoy living there. They want to make it better for themselves and their kids and their families and stuff like that. So I figured anything tangible that we can do out of the kindness of our hearts and supply, and why not do it?
Yeah, I like that. Just make sure, do what you can anyway. There is the inevitable appearance of it looking like there's a whole bunch of inmates on the beach doing their doing their required annual cleanup. So you kind of do what you can to make it look less like that, but I still want to see photos.
Oh yeah, it'll be, you know how the meets go. There'll be plenty of those.
Okay, good. I want to see a lot of good videos and photos of that, because just even if somebody can secretly like just kind of stand back on a little sand dune and just get a panoramic video shot of the guys cleaning up the beach, and then find the one or two people that are there just trying to enjoy their day at the beach, and they're thinking that they're just surrounded by inmates all of a sudden. Just to
Welcome
see their
to Pensacola,
faces.
hey.
Yeah. He's just awesome. If only you could just, somehow outfit everybody in like the 1920s prison shirts that
the stripes,
the stripes that nobody uses anymore, but except for comic books. That'd be a good time. Well, just to touch on it, I know we did off air a little bit. You guys are raising money for the proceeds of this event weekend are going to a really cool cause. Can you just touch back on that again, just so people can be aware of what that's about?
Yeah, it's called the Gulf Coast Kids House. They help kids that are in abusive homes find fosters that are better suited for them, get them out of the dangerous places they're living, and helps homeless children find stable housing, and takes people in, gives them food and shelter, and keeps them safe. And anything to help kids, I'll be diving right into it. And we'll have a representative there at the Beard Comp, and she's going to give a presentation on what they actually do in a little more detail than I have. And we're really excited to partner with them and help them out in any way possible. And I'm really excited. One of our guys spoke up on it and actually made it a reality, got in touch and made it happen. And we couldn't do what we do without all of our effort and teamwork. And I'm really excited that we're able to do it, and we have a solid group of guys that put in the work and made it all happen for us. And
yeah,
it's awesome.
Oh, it's, you know, kids, man. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, it tears at you, but anytime we can do what we can for kids, it's just one of those, you just, why not? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
If not me, who? So I wish I could be down there, man, with you, hanging out, but I look forward to the pictures. And I know you said that on the off chance that people's wallets run dry and you still have patches and shirts available from the weekend, those are going to go back up on the website sometime, go online for sale if you have any available after the weekend, right?
Well, we'll do inventory. We'll offer it on the open market for a certain amount of time, and if it doesn't have any bites, or if we just want to donate them, we're going to donate them.
Okay.
Because they're already we purchased it with our own money, and why not give back a little more if we can?
Yeah. Oh, perfect. All right, Paul, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out with me. I know you're still doing some last minute prep here, getting ready for the weekend, and then you can kind of decompress and relax after the weekend's over and wait till the next big event comes around. But
Exactly.
it's been something you've kind of been planning now for a couple of years, and you had a little bit of a taste of it last year, but you know it's going to be bigger and better this year. So good
Most
luck.
definitely.
Good luck. And I, like I said,
Thank
I can't wait to see all the photos and videos, man.
I mean, I wish you were coming, and I'll be sending everything your way. I'll call you.
There we go.
We'll do a live or something.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good, buddy.
All right, buddy.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Peace.
Yep. All right. So a little update with Paul talking about the Florida Summit. And I'm still not convinced that they got some secret passphrase or something going on there. I'll have to reach out to some people that attended the meet afterwards. Maybe somebody will tell me the real truth after the fact. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be an awesome time. And as I said in the interview, and I mentioned it last year too, when they were doing the unofficial version of the Florida Summit, that I really liked, is there's a cool aspect of it where they're actually going to be going out on the beach and being able to do a little bit of a cleanup. So helping out the community, beautifying the area, getting out on the on the beach to enjoy some of the weather, but just actually, once again, we love those chances where we're able to get out there and get our feet on the ground and do some good physically. So it's going to be a good time. Wish I could be there, but I know it's going to be a blast for everybody that's going to be down there for the Florida Summit. So thank you again, Paul, for taking some few minutes with me to update everybody on the Florida Summit. Now, we are going to flow right into the next phase. Now, this weekend up in Montreal, there's going to be an event that they've been waiting to do for a couple years. And it's a funny story how it originated. Basically off of some people, it almost sounds like a dare. And if you listen to Ron's explanation a little bit, you'll pay attention and you'll hear when he starts talking about the origin of how this Poutinefest started up. It's kind of a neat story about how that happened. He is one hell of a really cool dude that himself, I mean, he has, talk about a weird life that has just gone all over the place and led him down all sorts of different roads. And he seems to be one of these jack of all trades kind of guys. Boy, I'm telling you what, with the beard this guy has, with Ron has, he could very well be a candidate for most interesting man in the world. I don't know if we ever bring that back up, he might be able to be a candidate for that. I know we have several around the world that would fit that profile, but with everything he's done, it's kind of crazy. listening when I hear somebody that's traveled and done as much as he has, it makes me feel like I want to turn my head and kind of hide in a corner and wonder what I did with my life at times. But yeah, so here is my interview with Ron, the captain of the Montreal Bearded Villains, talking about Poutinefest and a little bit of get to know him and see what life is like through his lens. I have a guest this week who I have not spoken with before, but he has a really, really cool story and a very, very interesting event coming up this week. I'm really excited to talk to Ron from Bearded Villains Montreal. Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You are a unique dude, man. We were talking off air, but yeah, I've looked online and like I said, I was trying to decipher your history a little bit, and you can't really do it without talking to the man.
No.
So, if for those that don't know you in BV circles and whatnot, can you give us a little bit of a rundown? I know you currently sit as the captain for Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
But how did that? Let's just take us back. I mean, your beard journey. I guess maybe that would be a good way to start, because one hell of a magnificent beard you have, and we'll get into that too, because there's a part of that for this weekend that's going to come into play, I believe too.
Yeah.
But can you just start? You know, how did you find BV? And obviously you didn't always have the beard because a little bit of your background, but. Where does it all start?
Well, I did always have it. Once I got out of the military, I was in the U.S. Navy. I'll just go back a couple years before that. I was born in Oban, Scotland. My father was NATO, British military. I moved to Germany, spent all of my time from the age of 2 till 18 in Germany. And then I moved to the U.S. to go to university. I did ROTC, was in college, and got activated during Kuwait and then Afghanistan and Iraq and all that stuff. And it just kept tumbling, and I was active duty for quite a while. I got hurt in the military and so on. I finished school. Once I got out of the military, in the U.S. Navy, unlike most of the militaries in the rest of the world, we were not allowed to have beards, only a mustache. So I'm quite the hirsute dude. So I had just decided after that I always wanted a beard, and I used to sometimes have to shave twice a day when I was in the military. So I decided once I got out that I was never going to shave again. I was going to have a beard. So going through the mid 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, I kind of grew it out. At that time I was back a little bit. My mother was a hairdresser and was an instructor, and was a much older lady when she had me. And talked me into, while I was in high school, for going to school part-time to learn barbering and how to do hair and stuff, and said it would always be something I could fall back on. So anyways, on that, once I got out of the military, I finished university. One of my degrees is in computer science. So I got into IT, and I worked my way up. I worked for a company called Metro Information Services, and I worked for a healthcare company as their VP of IT. Then I worked for GE, director of IT. Then I worked for the New York Times. I was their executive director and senior vice president of their shared services center in Norfolk, Virginia, for all their properties. And on the side, I had owned a couple barbershops and stuff, and played in them on the weekends, and was partners in a few of them. And I just really enjoyed it. And at that point, I didn't have a big beard. I had a beard, and I had no tattoos. So I'm not much on follow the leader type of thing in the corporate office cubicle, looking a certain way, acting a certain way. Parting hair on the side kind of drove me crazy in the office politics, the corporate politics. So I had just kind of had enough. And believe it or not, I cashed out my 401k, my retirement, and proceeded over the next 20 years to open up a whole chain of salons and schools and barbershops and spas. So I did that. So anyways, I ended up, once I got into my own and I was able to do whatever I wanted, and I ran my own company, I grew out my beard and added tattoos, and now I'm pretty much covered in tattoos. And the beard has up and down over the years, depending upon who I was around, who I was with, who liked it, who didn't like it, who I was, whatever. But I've always had a beard. So skip forward, I was married for 22 years. Ended in a divorce, and ended in my company and such. As divorces happen, you split up assets and stuff. So I went through a pretty painful divorce. I was dating somebody long distance during my very long divorce in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And after the divorce happened, I had a series of a couple bad things happened during without getting into a bunch of detail. Found out that my best friend and my CFO, who worked for me for 20 years, had been embezzling. He went to jail at the same time, and this is during my divorce. Then at the same time, my only child and my only daughter, who I raised and had sole custody of since she was 7 years old, who also worked for me, died unexpectedly from leukemia during my divorce. So at that point, all of this happened within about a 1 year time frame. So I was dating somebody long distance. I have nobody in the U.S. I was alone and just I had nothing left. So it was either go back to the UK or come to Canada. So there was a bit of an ultimatum, and I've been dating somebody long distance and for quite a while, and was in love. So I said, why not Canada? I've moved around the world many times, so why not Canada? So I moved to Canada and was here. So I've been here for 9 years. And I opened up another barbershop, and then I opened up a couple other small businesses. Started to grow out my beard quite long. I got noticed by a photographer and a scout and stuff like that, and I did some modeling and some commercials and stuff like that, and got around the city and stuff, and some magazines and stores. And I soon found out that the reason I was getting my bookings without being said so forwardly was that about my beard. So I made a mistake with a very large company that I had a regular contract with to cut my beard off pretty short, down to 4, 5, 6 centimeters. And I didn't get my contract renewed that year. So it was a pretty lucrative one. So I screwed it up. And so at that point, I decided to grow it back out. It's kind of my thing. That's what people know me as. So at that point, I met somebody from the UK that was moving here, that was here visiting, and that was moving here, that was dating somebody, and that was new into BV. He soon, over his time that he was getting through his own personal stuff over in the UK and moving here and situating himself and settling here, him and I became very close and became best friends together all the time. Basically, picked him up from the airport. I knew about BV, but at that point, I was not much interested. I had already done. I wasn't real clear from the way that he had introduced it. Of anything more than kind of an online social, like the beard struggle or one of those things. And I had enough of that stuff on social media and repping people's products and crap like that. So I just wasn't really interested. Met some other BV guys around Toronto. I could name off a whole bunch of people that I had met, and kind of convinced me that it really wasn't that. And I'm also a Mason, so I like that type of stuff. I was also in a college fraternity. So I like the whole idea of structure, and I like the goodwill thing. I like the open-mindedness, changing ideas, and it's a huge thing for me. So it fit. So him and I worked together, and Montreal had a chapter that started back in 2014 that went dark over personal struggles and issues within the chapter, and it went dark. Had been dark for about 3 or 4 years. It only lasted a year or so.
Oh, wow.
So Jason and I picked it back up, got it going. I joined in beginning 2017. We got the chapter going after we got our 5, probably about the beginning. I think it was beginning of 2018. There was again, it's a long story, but there was a personality leadership issue within the organization, and Jason left the chapter. I was co-captain because he'd introduced me into BV. We had decided that he would be captain, I would be co-captain.
Right.
So he left the organization, and I took over, and I've been captain now for 3.5 years. So we've grown from the initial 5 to about 25, and we're quite active. So I think we're actually the largest chapter in Canada. I think maybe. Maritimes is up there, but not sure about active and inactive members and such like that. But we're pretty active.
You've seen. Let me just cut in real quick, just a second, because in that time that you've been that you basically helped to regrow. I mean, rebirth really the Montreal chapter. You've seen, I mean, just think about that for a second. You've seen not just growth, but all the things that you've seen, and now coming through a pandemic, and I mean the different events that you started back up, and now coming back again this year. That's one hell of a jaunt there for the BV Montreal chapter. Just since you've
Yeah,
been a part of it,
for sure, for sure. Yeah,
man.
it just like other chapters and stuff like that that have these issues. When a chapter goes dark, they lose their seal. There are people sitting out there that feel a certain way, have a certain opinion and stuff like that, but it's all based upon previous experiences and stuff. So it was, again, a lot of people knew about BV around here, but it was again, basically what our focus should be as BV anyways, and that was to change minds and make sure it was a positive it's
Yeah,
a positive thing. So that in itself was an issue and
yeah,
kind of a change.
great. All right. So then moving on then, where I interrupted you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So what's on?
No, so I just think it's interesting that you're, uh, you knew about BV, you helped, rebirth it because in the short time, Montreal was actually one of the probably just a very few chapters that started up and then, like you said, went dark so quickly,
Yeah.
in the realm of BV. Now we've seen a few others now with BV being 7 years old, that have done the same. But the fact that it went dark so quickly, and
Well,
then now you guys have become so. It seems like every few weeks to every month or so, I'm seeing some post about something kind of cool that Montreal's doing. So I kudos to you for doing all that. But
I don't know. It's not me.
what?
It's the guys.
No, I
Not
know
much.
that.
Yeah. I'm pretty candid about this. Anybody that talks to me about this, I have a pretty big opinion about even the political agenda and the politics that happen in any organization. BB's not exclusive to that, or not excluded from that. It at least in my own organization, my own chapter and stuff like that, I see other chapters and through all these years and stuff being associated with so many different ones and knowing so many different people and such that a lot of times, unfortunately, whether it's in a paycheck type of an organization or a volunteer charity or charitable nonprofit like we are in, unfortunately, people are put into the wrong positions. They're put there based upon friendships, based upon OG status, how long they've been around. They deserve it because they know the most, they've been around the most, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're right for that position, especially when BB like us, it's a second job, or in some cases, it's a third job. Especially once you get into a leadership position or an elected position or an officer position.
Truly.
It's availability. It's not necessarily how much you know and how long you've been in. Well, for sure, it's not. You have to have the time, as we've seen in the upper echelons of BB as well as other parts of BB. We can all have experience with this. That if you don't have the time, things slow down. They don't progress. They don't stay positive. So it's a huge sacrifice. So in our chapter, as well as many, many, many other chapters, majority of chapters, usually the initial people that are in roles in a chapter are usually not the best fit. It's just the way it is. Once it becomes apparent what the job entails, what's expected, especially if you want it to be a successful organization and truly help people and help the community and stuff like that, it's a lot of work. And most people don't have the time for, and it's all legitimate. They have families, they have second jobs, they have children, illnesses, all of those things. But it's difficult in this organization to get people mature enough to either not accept the role or to step down when they're unable to meet the expectations and stuff. So that's
Yes.
where emotions get involved, and that's where all of the challenges and the fighting and the bickering and all that happens. And what's nice is, I can honestly say in my chapter, we have zero of that. Zero.
It's
It's
refreshing, isn't it?
yeah, it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
you see it in other chapters. We're in a very unique situation as well, being that we're only a year old. My chapter now,
Right.
and we kind of started out having examples set before us, obviously from the chapter that we grew from,
Yeah.
But you see things and you recognize right from the outset, and that's one of the things that we made sure we did as well, was that we said that, we're putting egos aside, and it's what's best for the club, and anybody that is going to become, one of the initial leaders of this group is not necessarily going to be there a year or two down the road if that's not what's best for the club, because it's one of those things, like, and you could vouch for that too. You don't know until you know,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you
for
you
sure.
don't realize, and it's easy to say, I want to be in this position, this leadership position within the organization, until you realize all that is entailed in that. And so many captains you hear always say, "Careful with what you wish for."
Yeah.
And
It all depends upon your, I guess, what your focus, what you want to get out of it. It's exactly what you said. Do you want your organization? I can only speak from my role. I pretty much, even during at the very beginning, I pretty much have led the chapter, and so I've always wanted it to grow. I always really wanted it to make a significant impact to the community. I wanted people to know of us. I wanted to, and not, I'm not talking BB. I'm just talking about us.
yes,
I don't know how much you're in those chats and stuff, but I talk very little in the global chats. I don't have much to do. I kind of keep to my chapter. I don't like being involved in all of that stuff. I love my guys. I love my chapter. I'm here to make a difference in my city and in my community. This is where I'm here to make a difference. All of that other stuff is extraneous and really is not, and it pulls you down and takes away from the energy of the chapter and stuff like that. So I have found years ago it's best to focus on us. So
hmm
in that we could have stayed 5, 10, 15 people. We could have only taken on 1 or 2 charities a year, but that's not where I wanted to go, and that's not what I wanted to do. And I'm blessed, and this is probably this is the only reason that I'm captain, I'm sure, is because all of my businesses I do on my own. I do from my home. I do in and out of the office. I do on my own. I set my own time. I pretty much schedule everything around BB, and all of my guys know that BB comes first. Everything that I do.
hmm
So not many people can do that,
no,
and and the guys that support me in this role definitely have put BB as a priority also. So it's nice. It's nice that we all feel that way, and everybody is also very, very clear and mature enough. Like I said, we were talking about a minute ago, is that if at a time, whether it's illness or because of a second job, we have somebody that just started a new company and stuff like that, they may have to step down. There's no ego. There's no ego whatsoever. I tell my guys all the time, I'm not chasing you to be involved. I'm not chasing you to do your job. If there's a point where I need to chase you to do the job, then it's time to step down and let somebody else step in.
absolutely, yeah. That's very well said, because I'm in a very similar situation to what you're in that I have the time, and
Yep.
I being that I'm a stay-at-home dad, and now my daughter's back in school most of the day. I have this huge block of time where, okay, I've got my honeydew list. I've got my Mr. Mom list that I get done during the day, and
Yeah.
stuff around the house and
We're
get the
both the same.
cleaning.
Yeah, we both do that.
But it's funny because this it's unique to me, because this is all I've known as a captain, and there's guys out there that work 18 hours a day and they're still a captain as well, and
Yeah.
to realize how much more they have to probably rely on the
The
other
others.
structure members of their chapter. It's very easy for me to just say I'll take care of it because I have the time, and it's I take pride in that, and it's one of the things that I'm very fortunate. My wife is extremely understanding, and so when I took on this role, I told my wife, I said, uh, me and Ed, who is my co-captain, I said we said from the outset, we're going to be the we're going to be the faces of the chapter in the realm of going out to other chapters and going to their other events. So this is going to take some time away from you seeing me, and ultimately some weekends away from the family, because I need to
Yeah.
be out there and a representative of BV to other chapters as well. And she's been very, very accepting of that, and very happy with letting me be a part of that. So I'm very fortunate. I know that, but it's not always the
That's
case.
that's the other thing I think is difficult for people to understand, is that your chapter doesn't thrive without the support of your chapters around you. It's your neighbors that support you. It's certainly not, especially us being in Quebec. It may be a little bit of New England that comes to some of our events and stuff like that. It's not Europe. It's not South America. It's not the majority of the U.S. or anything like that that's coming to any of our events. So it's kind of expected, especially as the captain, to make sure that you and or some reps or a significant representation from your chapter go to your neighboring events. Because if you don't go to theirs, they don't come to yours. You don't support them, they don't support you. You definitely in this type of organization, you cannot be alone.
No,
you have to. So you have to take the time. When you commit to something like this, I think it takes a long time for people to truly understand through trial and error that it's a lot of time. It's not just your meetings and your drinks and your hangouts and stuff like that. It's planning a lot of socials. It's planning a lot of events to get your name out there and your face out there and stuff like that. And you have to do it. You don't have a choice.
Well, to that end, that's the perfect lead in here. Because you have an event coming up this weekend that had to be scrapped, obviously plans for in the pandemic year, but coming back bigger, badder, better than ever. And it's funny because, as you probably know, I have my calendar of events that I go through every episode of the podcast. And when this came around, I would mention it, but then I saw the actual your itinerary for the weekend that you guys put out. And I thought, oh my gosh, this thing, and it took me like 5 minutes to read everything that you guys have going on and all the little tidbits of different things going on for the weekend. But it's so cool because you guys have really put some effort in, and there's just, all sorts of stuff going on. So for the people that are uneducated, first of all, because I had to ask some of my other Canadian brothers up there,
what is poutine?
Yes. Can you explain that to anybody that doesn't know?
All right. So I kind of had the same thing. So when I first moved to Canada, I came here and somebody had introduced me and said, "Hey, let's do poutine tonight?" And I was like, "What? Well, what is that?" And he's like, "Oh, you're American. You'll love it. It's French fries. It's gravy and cheese." Wow. Count me in. So Quebec likes to take credit that they, I guess, hundreds of years ago created it and the originator. But it's a big thing throughout Canada, especially on the East Coast with Ontario and a few of the other provinces up north. There's always a bit of a competition about who has the best one. There's variances, just like barbecue in the South in the U.S. versus barbecue in the North and stuff like that.
Okay.
The basic one is usually a home French fry, homemade French fry, a brown gravy, and this cheese, nicknamed squeaky cheese because it squeaks in your mouth when you eat it. But it's called cheese curds. I don't know I don't know, but it's good. It's very good. There's lots of variations. People add pepperoni and add sausages and peppers, and you can get different sauces, and every single restaurant, including our McDonald's here in Quebec, serve poutine. Every restaurant, it's a staple in every restaurant.
Wow.
You can get Italian poutine, you can get Mexican poutine, you name it. There's 1,000 of them. So us almost 4 years ago got together with a couple chapters, and we happened to we have a restaurant here called Poutineville, and it's a well-known, all that's on their menu is poutine. You can order a special poutine with literally a couple hundred different things and choose what you want on it and all your variations and your likes, or you can choose some plain ones and some canned menu items and stuff like that. So while we were all sitting there under maybe a possible few beers or two,
Of course.
we all decided, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool to have a contest? Who could eat the most of this? Because there's not many people I've ever met that isn't in love with poutine. Once you eat it, it's just, it's crazy.
Okay, wait a minute. Can I call timeout for just a second? So it's not a competition of like a barbecue competition, which is like who's taste best. This is who eats the most.
Oh no! So let me tell you. So that same time we hadn't ordered yet, so we decided there was a 20-pound. You can order a 20-pound poutine. 20 pounds. That's a huge. It's a massive. It's even bigger than that. I mean, it's 20 pounds, and it's nothing but fries, gravy, and cheese.
Oh my gosh!
So what we did was we ordered a couple of them. I think who was with us? I'm not sure. It was T.O. and maybe OSW or maybe Bytown. I'm not sure. But anyways, we had a contest. So we ate through it and we won. Montreal won. And so we made that our official first year, and we did some cool certificates and sent out the winners type of thing. So we decided the second year everybody was blown away and loved it and had a great time. So we decided to make it an official event. So we have a huge, massive, I don't know, 2-3 foot tall trophy with a poutine on the top, and we made it into a weekend event, and that's the main piece of it. And 2 years ago, right before COVID, not quite 2 years, I guess 2 years ago, we had 4 or 5 chapters that competed, and Bytown beat us by 3 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
3 seconds. Yes. So that's been difficult because the way our neighboring chapters treat this is that trophy has become like the traveling gnome. They take it in all their photos, they take it places, bragging rights. It's constant shit talking, that type of thing.
And this
So
has
it's
lasted
all
now 2 years.
Oh God. And yeah, and they got to keep it another year.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty sensitive thing to talk about right now about us trying to get it back. So anyways, so that's the main event. The first night we do a big long meet and greet at one of our favorite pubs here on the water. The event is on the water. It's on what's called Lehigh Canal, a beautiful waterfront. We have a lighthouse. It's really, really nice. So we that Friday night we have a meet and greet, and then on Saturday in the afternoon, early afternoon, I think about 11 o'clock, we have a professional photographer that comes out and takes formal photos, flag photos, individual photos, chapter photos. We like to give away photos as kind of a present to the chapters afterwards and such. So we do about 2 or 3 hours of photos. Then we have a little bit of free time. Then about 2 or 3 o'clock, we start raffles and auctions and stuff like that. We have 2 main charities. For the last few years, it was La Mère Noël, which is French for it's an organization here in Montreal in the borough of Verdun. It's for underprivileged children that wouldn't normally get Christmas presents for Christmas. So we have partnered with them for the last 3 years. We even did it during COVID. We sold patches and T-shirts and also went out and raised funds a few other ways. And basically, based upon how much money we raise, they give us a list of children, male or female, plus their age, plus what their wish is for a Christmas present from Santa. So we go out with that list and we go to Toys R Us and Walmart and all the different places, and we spend the whole day doing nothing but shopping for Christmas presents for these children.
Wow.
So the second charity, so that's the main charity. Then the second charity, I'll tell you, we'll go back a few years during COVID. When my daughter first passed away, when I came to Canada, Montreal was building a brand new hospital, beautiful state-of-the-art, huge thing up on the mountain that you could see, incredible. And I inquired about doing a donation because they were raising funds also for wings of certain parts of the hospital. And one of them was the blood cancer leukemia wing. And I wanted to get what was called a forever brick of my daughter and her name built in that hallway. I didn't have the money at the time on what it took, and I was trying to raise money, and I just couldn't get there. And by the time I asked again, it was already done, and the hospital was done, and there wasn't any available. So my brothers, without me knowing, during COVID, we had I think it was when we first locked down. It might have been because I was allowed a few people over. A few of us were sitting, and we had our general meeting. And I had a few guys in my living room, and we did our meeting. And obviously I talk forever. Our meetings take forever, take hours. So after a few hours of talking and discussing issues and challenges and, trying to get positive vibes and laughter and stuff going, I went to end it. My co-captain jumps up and says to me, no, it's not over yet. And in so many words tells us that without me knowing, a few guys from other chapters, as well as my guys, as well as countless, probably hundreds around the world, decided to do an auction in my daughter's honor to raise the needed funds for a significant, almost a $5,000 donation to the Leukemia Foundation of Canada in my daughter's name. So they did that. So people didn't even buy. People just gave money. And this is what BB. I've had my doubts over the years, and it's a lot of work. And I've had my own times where I've wondered where I'm going or how much longer I'm going to go, type of thing. But these types of things are what changes the world. And I see that for me, thousands of these guys who only see me on Instagram or certainly don't know me, and we see this all the time in the chats. I'm sure you do. To give money, especially during COVID, which people didn't have, for what? To help out a young girl that died, early, and it really isn't helping her. It was just a remembrance. It was for me. It was for me. It was for me just to somehow put somewhere on a wall that my daughter will be remembered. And people cared about that. So without getting all emotional about that, to current day. So I found out that the Leukemia Foundation was considerably about 30% underfunded because of COVID, and we're not meeting their goals and such. So I decided that I myself was going to do something. I don't know if you've ever noticed. I'm sure you're not, but every year or so I cut off about half of my beard anyways, just because it gets too much. Yeah. So this year I decided to go longer and let it grow even longer. And for myself, I am going to do an auction and have a bidding to cut off my beard for leukemia in my daughter's name again. And at the end of the night, with the foundation going to be there also, I'll donate the funds again to the Leukemia Foundation, and we're going to raise lanterns and lit lanterns and stuff for my daughter at the very end of the evening. And in between there, we have a beard competition, and like I said, we have eating, we have food trucks on the water, dancing, that type of stuff. So, and and the other thing, we have some really cool things that are happening. I'm not sure if you know, but I think I may be the only chapter in the world that may have this, but our deputy mayor is one of my best buddies, and deputy mayor of Montreal, and he's also an MP. He's in our chapter. He's a bearded villain. He has supported us for years, and he just decided he didn't want to be an honorary anymore. He wanted to be a villain. So, he's going to be there. He brings some of his constituents. We have the president of the St. Andrew Society coming. We have a bunch of it's going to be a great weekend. So hopefully we'll raise some really good funds for La Mère Noël, the children, and for the Leukemia Foundation, and try to get them on track.
Yeah, you are unique. I've noticed that. I saw you start posting about him. I think it was about a year ago. The first time I remember seeing the post about him and saying, well, yeah, we're, our politicians are cooler than yours or something like that. I was like, yeah, man, you don't see that. You don't, everybody's always worried about image. And I know here in the States, it's weird because there's a weird connotation about beards and deceptiveness, I guess, in the political world. You don't see politicians anywhere that hold any kind of political office that's elected.
You've seen him. He's like me. That's
it. He looks like he could be your brother, literally.
Well, that's a 2-minute story. So that's how we met. He skateboards, I skateboard. He's well known for skateboard and graffiti. In his day, he was a big graffiti artist, well known around the world. Got into politics, became quite big in politics and stuff like that. So when I moved here, I literally was going to restaurants, and his name is Sterling, and people would tap me on the shoulder or yell across the room, Sterling, and I'd be like, what? And they would hit me and, oh, sorry that you're not Sterling, type of thing. And this went on for a few years until I figured out who Sterling Downey was. Then I went to the Highland Games. I met him. He's a big Scottish supporter and St. Andrews supporter and such. A lot of our same interests. Come to find out, we know a lot of the same people. We became fast and true friends, and hung out. And he's always supported the chapter. So it's always just the other day I was walking down his borough, and one of his constituents, one of his voters, was screaming at me to get back to work, get back in the office, and just kept yelling at me. And I'm even walking. He's like 2 feet away from me, and he still thinks I'm Sterling. But anyways, he's a really good guy. He's a great politician. He's a great deputy mayor.
That's great. That's very, very cool that you have that story, but that you have somebody that's that recognizable and that can be actually that down to earth and be a part of your chapter as well. If you think about it, it speaks volumes to the type of chapter that you have, that he wants to be not only a part of it from afar, but he actually wants to be a part of it. Of all the different things that he could spend his time doing.
I say this all the time, and I'm
cool.
sure everybody says this about their guys in their chapter, but I truly mean it, is that there's no guys that I've ever met that are cut from the same cloth that my guys are. They're extremely moral. They are just the best people I've ever met. I don't truly have any other friends. These are my friends. They are, they're more than my friends. They really are my family. I've changed minds. They've changed my minds, and so on. And it's, I could never leave BV because I don't think I could live without these guys. I mean, I look forward to every single day just talking with them and getting to see them and stuff like that. So the chapter is what keeps me in BV, these guys. And I truly love them. And we would never have accomplished anything without these guys. They've all done it. They do all the work. I'm just kind of the mouthpiece. And so I thank them for saving my life also, because I had no direction and I was lost after coming to Canada. And I wasn't sure in my 50s what I was going to do with the rest of my life after, everything gone. My parents gone, my only child gone, my divorce. And they filled it all, and they've given me purpose.
Yeah, that right. I mean, what a crushing year. But if anybody can take anything out of your story, is that there's a way out of that, and there's a way to lift yourself up out of it.
Things always get better.
That's
time to heal.
Yeah, you're a perfect example of that. That's so awesome. Well, so this the cutting of your beard thing, how exactly is that working? For people that don't, is it a one person wins? I mean, does somebody get to do the actual cutting of your beard, or how is this working?
I've heard some rumors. I'm hoping these rumors are true. But what we're going to do, we're basically going to do an auction. We're actually going to live stream it also. So we're going to do an auction. We're going to have people bidding to cut my beard off. Now, of course, I have said the shortest I'm going to go is 6 centimeters. I'm not going. I mean, even 6 centimeters is pretty short. I mean,
compared to what you're at right now, yeah, that's really noticeable.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can even do. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, and they might have to tie me up. But
we're not going to business beard.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
But so we're doing a bidding. So what I'm hoping is, there's a few guys that I know that are actually going to bid to not cut it, and they asked if that's an option, and I said, hey, you know what? If it raises money and you want to put money to not cut it, it's all for the leukemia. It's all for the good.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to sacrifice it. I absolutely, on my daughter, I'm willing to sacrifice it in her name. It's not that big of a deal. It will grow back in a year or two. So, but if anybody wants to bid and try to save it, then all the better.
If the highest bidder wants to say, nah, let them save it.
Yeah.
That's even better. Very cool. Yeah. Well, you'll have to let him shave something else then, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
My back.
Your back. Yeah. Or you just get a surrogate. You just get a surrogate person to shave instead.
Oh yeah.
Get your back up.
I'll let him cut off a couple dead ends or something.
Well, I hope that works for you, because the time it takes to grow out the length of a beard that you have right now, I know it's in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing, and to do it, you don't hesitate to think about shaving that down for cutting it down off in honor of your daughter, but or to help out the hospital. But it's still one of those things that's like, okay, it's going to change the way I live my life for the next year and a half.
It is so, for sure.
But how cool is that? That's awesome. If the borders were opened up a little bit easier right now, I would be making plans to be up there. But
we have some Americans coming. I think.
Yeah.
It's
just unfortunate the timing of it this weekend, and then if I had a little bit better preparation for it, it's for some reason it's easier for us to get up to you than it is for you guys to come down to us right now. Because you guys have required tests.
No, they opened ours August 1st. No. Yeah, was it August 1st? Yeah, August 1st. August 1st, we were able to travel. My father just passed away, so I had to go to the U.S. and deal with some estate issues and stuff. And it wasn't that big of a deal. I just had to show my paperwork, and that was about it. I know that our photographer's coming from Vermont, and he had to show obviously his vaccinations, and he had to do a rapid quick test or something 3 days or 4 days before arriving, or within 3 or 4 days of arriving.
Okay,
So that was it.
Yeah, I've heard from a few of the Canadian brothers that I don't know if it's a insurance thing or if it's the difference between the healthcare systems there and here, but um, I know I got they're telling people, you know, you can get tested all the time, and it doesn't really sound like people are really paying for those tests. So I don't know
Yeah.
if the government's taking that tab or not, but you know, up there, when in talking to one of the Canadian brothers to come down here, he said he'd have to take 2 tests, and it was going to cost him like
Well,
$1,000.
well, I can tell you,
So
I got stuck with that when I was in the U.S. At the time, Canada was requiring a test within 72 hours to cross the border for me to come back home. For some reason, where I was at, I was in Ohio, I was in Cincinnati, and for some reason, they wouldn't take the rapid test because it wasn't an antigen something type of test. It was 2 to 3 days.
right.
I don't have healthcare in the U.S. It's not like Canada just is going to send money to the U.S. for me to do anything. So I didn't have any coverage. So I had to pay like 300 or 400, a couple hundred, I think like $300 for a test. Well, it didn't come back in 3 days, so I couldn't go across the border. I had to take a second one. I took the second one. It was by the time I got to the border, because it was like a 6 or 7 hour drive for me to get to the border, I was a couple hours late by the time I got through the traffic and everything,
No,
and they wouldn't let me.
you had to take a third.
I had to take a third, and this cost me. It was a pretty penny, obviously, just to get across the border because that 72 hours was it was a pain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There was such a backlog in the U.S. For some reason, the labs couldn't process them fast enough. Cincinnati, wherever they were sending them to, because I went to 2 different doctors, and none of them came back in time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would just suck. Something
Yeah.
fierce. I mean, man, how frustrating that can be. Well, dude, I'm so excited for your event. I'm looking forward now that I hear that it's gonna be live streamed too.
Yeah.
Parts of it, and I'm excited because from my perspective, from somebody who's been telling people for as long as this podcast has been on, I've been telling people in chapters all over the world, please share your videos, share your photos. You guys do that, and I'm really I'm excited when I see stuff come out because I think you guys get that it's not about bragging about what you do, but it's about sharing it. And you see that there's a positive aspect of sharing what you're doing in a way that it's not bragging. And
You, you know,
it can
it,
really
it
highlight some of the other things that we can do.
it's a struggle because what happens is, and we've caught ourselves, especially during COVID, a few times. We do a lot of other things. We help the homeless shelters. We go to homeless shelters and we raise money for that. We help out the homeless on the streets. We help out the indigenous shelters, women's shelters. We've raised money for them. We give money towards it's called Gris Montreal, which is a LGBTQ community center that teaches LGBT issues and stuff in secondary schools and high schools and stuff like that. And it's all volunteer. We help out with them. We do all of these things, but unfortunately, we get caught up in the moments, even though we do have a media officer. Even he gets caught up in the moments and stuff, and we don't take enough pictures. We don't live stream. We don't do a video. It's all about the event and raising the money, or actually cooking, or handing the clothes out. It's doing the event, and we do a lot more than what people see on there. And unfortunately, we don't advertise as much as everybody else does about how many events they do and stuff like that. But we do a considerable amount. We've done.
No, I
Probably
honestly think that you guys
in the last
do.
year.
I actually think you guys put out more than you think, comparatively speaking. Now, I think that speaks to the amount of stuff that you're doing, that the fact that you feel like you're still lagging in that area. But compared to there's many other chapters that I have to beg them for photos after I heard about some fairly significant event, and they may have 1 or 2 photos that somebody happened to take. But and I understand there's a time and place for everything, and I understand that there's your focus isn't publicity, your focus isn't to do that. But as I've said before, so often that by taking these videos and those photos, whether you publicize them or not, or just have them readily available if somebody wants to see, it's something that can promote and foster this positive role model type of a feeling where if there's a chapter out there that's stuck and they just don't know we're hurting for ideas, And there's chapters out there that do that. They want to do something, but they don't want to do the same old, same old. But they're kind of stuck in a rut. And it's seeing the photos or hearing about the events that other chapters are doing that are kind of unique and a little out of the ordinary, that they kind of go, you know what, we could do that same thing here too. So
our
I love
focus
that.
over our focus over the next year is we made a conscious effort, especially with a lot of our partnerships and stuff that we've done lately, is we want to get more of the word out about BV. People still don't know much about BV that should know about us and the impact that we're giving to the community, our own community in our backyard. So we're going to do things like we're going to have a team on the Highland Games. We're going to be in a St. Patrick's Parade. We're doing a polar dip with the city with some of the elected officials. We're doing, we're going to do stuff like that so that we can not necessarily, it's not about just raising money. Hopefully we can have an opportunity in those events somehow that we can tie into raising some funds for some unfortunates, but it's also just awareness. We want people to understand who we are and that we're out there and we would like to help. The more that we can grow our chapter and the more that we can grow the visibility, the more impact that we can have on our community. So that's going to be our focus coming up.
I love it, man. I love it. Montreal's kicking ass, and
Nice.
you guys, it's just fun to watch. It's fun to watch. So anybody that's still out in the wilderness trying to figure out what they want to do this weekend and they have some time,
Please
get up there. It's going to be a blast. I'm mad that I can't be there, and I know I've talked to guys from all over Canada that are heading over there. So it's going to be a blast to watch, at least from the outsider's perspective, to see some photos and videos that are going to be coming out. So Ron, I wish you the best of luck with it. And then you can kind of decompress and after the weekend's over and move on to the next thing. But 2 years basically in the making for this 1 year. Looking
hopefully
forward to
it'll be worth it. Hopefully everybody will have a good time.
I guarantee it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. But Ron, thanks so much for your time and good luck. Good luck. And I look forward to seeing
the opportunity. I appreciate everything. Thanks for your time. I very much thank you. I know you're just as busy as me, so I appreciate it.
I'm happy I was able to get you on here, man. So I'm honored to be able to talk to you. So I'll talk to you soon and we'll talk afterwards and see how things went for you.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
And that was Ron. That was Captain Ron up in Montreal. They are going to have such a blast. When I sit back and listen to this, when you hear him talk about what this poutine is, I mean, come on. If you were to slab 20 pounds of fat in front of me that included cheese, gravy, and French fries, I mean, what are we doing? If we don't have that here in the States, we already have huge portions of stuff anyway, but I mean, they have that their McDonald's. What are we doing here, boys and girls, here in the States, if we don't have that among all the other things that we do have? I would generously say kick off about a third of the McDonald's menu just to have one order of that on there. That's wow. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. But we need to get some of us boys from the US up there for that, because I think we some of our chapters down here in the US could give them a run for their money on that Poutinefest, and we got some eaters down here. We got some eaters, so it would be fun. It would be a lot of fun to see how that goes. But again, thanks, Ron, for taking some time with us, and that's just awesome. If you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo Beard products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash, beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to Pulpo Beard Oils, that's Pulpo beardoils.com, and use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order. All right, boys and girls, we are going to slide in now to our calendar of events that you all love so much. Our calendar of events. This is what I've got so far. If I'm missing one of your events, please let me know, and I'll make sure that we get it on the books. We heard it first part of this episode, Florida Summit, Pensacola Beach, Florida, October 15th and 16th. You're being hosted by basically the whole state of Florida. And I don't have any, just, you know what? Following tradition with this event, I'm not going to share any other information. We heard it earlier. So Florida Summit, Pensacola Beach, Florida this weekend. It's going to be a blast, and I'm sad I'm not going to be there. I'm also sad that I'm not going to be up in Montreal this weekend for Poutinefest 2021, October 15th and 7th through the 17th, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Montreal, benefiting Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada. They got a meet and greet on the 15th. That's tomorrow. Poutinefest on the 16th. Every time I'm going to say that now, I'm going to be wanting to eat something. They got a beard comp, poutine competition party, goodbye breakfast on the 17th. Don't forget they're going to have tattoos, a barber on site, raffles, special charity auction. To see what happens, stay tuned because they're going to be going live. Find out if Captain Ron keeps his beard at the current length or if somebody pays enough to make it get cut. Check that out. Then next weekend, October 23rd, here in Northern Indiana, my chapter, we have Ezra Crow's Halloween Havoc. Please, if you are bored, if you don't know what you're going to do next weekend, find your way here to Northern Indiana. It's our first beard competition as a chapter, and we're going to have a blast with it. It's going to be a Halloween theme. We're going to have beard competition. We're going to have costume contest. Wait till you see the trophies for this thing. Very unique. We've got some very, very, very cool, one-of-a-kind auction items, raffle items coming through. It's going to be a blast. Everything's going to be benefiting the Ronald McDonald Houses of Northern Indiana. That's Ezra Crow's Halloween Havoc here in Northern Indiana. It's going to be held in Valparaiso, Indiana. Any questions, reach out to somebody from the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains. Then the following weekend, October 30th, the Downtown Halloween Bash, hosted by the Rocket City Bearded Villains. They also are going to have a costume contest, a beard contest, a whole bunch of other things, music, food, raffle, good stuff, down in the Rocket City. Hosted by the Rocket City Bearded Villains, Downtown Halloween Bash, October 30th. Then November 5th through the 7th, rolling into November, the Slugger City boys are back. The Slugger City Bearded Villains are hosting the Slugger City Bash. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. Going to be a great beard competition. I will be there. Come down, say hi, hang out with us. November 5th through the 7th, Slugger City Bash, Louisville, Kentucky. The following weekend, just across the water, if you're not sure about your geography, that's across the Ohio River, in Southern Indiana, is Battle of the Beards, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana. I'm not sure if they're officially being known as the Southern Indiana Villains now or not. But Battle of the Beards 2021, it's always a great time. November 12th to the 14th. If you're coming, come with me, celebrate. It's my birthday weekend. We're going to have a great time there, November 12th to the 14th. Battle of the Beards 2021, raising great money for a really cool home that caters to and helps out veterans down there in Southern Indiana. So really cool time always down there with Battle of the Beards 2021. Also that same weekend, if you're over in Virginia, November 13th, is Beards Away. Beards Away, hosted by the Virginia Bearded Villains. It's their 6th anniversary in beard competition. It's hosted at Bunker Brew Pub. I believe that's where it all began, they say. Beards Away, hosted by the Virginia Bearded Villains. If they follow suit in years past, they had some really cool trophies for that event as well. That's November 13th for Beards Away. November 26th to the 28th, get on down to Louisiana for what is known as Louisiana's largest beard competition. That's right, Louisiana's largest beard competition. It's called the Cajun Beard Bash, hosted by the Bearded Villains Louisiana chapter. They got vendors, prizes, food, music. It's a whole weekend full of Cajun goodness. November 26th to the 28th for the Cajun Beard Bash, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Louisiana. Then we roll the calendar into January 8th, 2022. The Smoky Mountain Bearded Villains come back with a vengeance on their 4-year anniversary with a beard competition in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, benefiting Hinderless 22. Smoky Mountain Bearded Villains, their 4-year anniversary and beard competition. Again, that's January 8th, 2022. That's what I've got on the schedule, other than keep an eye out in May for the first weekend of May, for Beardo de Mayo, hosted by the Ohio brothers, the Heartland Boys, the Ohio chapter of the Bearded Villains. Beardo de Mayo, that first weekend in May 2022. Also, I would be remiss if I did not give a quick shout out to everybody over in the UK, Central England boys. They have Beardingham coming up in December, but all the tickets are sold out. So if you're not already planning on being there, that's kind of why I didn't mention it. If you're not already planning on being there, you're going to have to find somebody else that already has a ticket to sell it to you, if that's even allowed. I don't know. So, but that's what we got on the calendar so far. If I missed your event, please reach out and let me know, and I will make sure to get it on the calendar for sure. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up episode 104. We came back hard this week. Long episode, but I think really well worthwhile listening to all the cool stuff that we're doing out there. That is episode 104. Please remember, you can still buy shirts, patches, pins, all the good stuff at theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. That's theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. That's also where you're going to listen to all previous 103 episodes of this podcast. I want to challenge you guys, as I always do every week, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Finally, guys, the most important words I say every single week. Please remember, it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy this weekend. Go do some BV stuff. Go do some family stuff. Get out and enjoy this last bit of good weather we got. Have a great week. I will see you back for 105 next week. Take care. Stay safe.
From the start to the finish, go hard.